Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. I'm laughing because I was startled initially by this throw. And I was like, wow, that was a good throw. Like, the slap was good and everything. I'll have to redo the intro. I backed up and moved my chair. Oh, of course, it's not going to make the same sound. But I backed into the chair, rolling over this plastic thing, and it goes, which I know because you can only see this. Everyone's going to say he farted. I could edit that out, but I'm not gonna. We're just gonna proceed anyway. It was the chair! Anyways, thanks so much to Artisan Cutlery for sending this in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram, etc., etc. Okay, so let's see here. We gotta open that. We gotta. Well, no, it almost felt like it was sticky, but no. This is called the Beest, and it's spelled B-E-E-S-T. I looked this up before I opened this because I wanted to see the price. It's going to be linked in the description like usual. You can check this out. Helps my channel when you use the links, but that's up to you. Okay, good. You guys sent me the gray one. That's what I was kind of hoping for. This is a bit different for Artisan Cutlery. I mean, and when I say that, Artisan Cutlery does make some wild and wacky stuff. They typically don't do this type of machining. A lot of times their knives that hover right around the $200 price point are really nice. They use nice materials, but it's a very basic setup with not a lot of personality or detail or machine work or anything like that. This seems to have a bit more. And when you do that, obviously it sort of makes the... it reduces the total number of people who could potentially be interested in it in a lot of cases, not all cases, right? But when you add more subjective aesthetic elements, then it kind of splits people up is what I'm saying. Obviously, I don't know why I'm telling you guys this, like you don't know. But that's what I noticed immediately was this is a bit different for Artisan Cutlery. Let's try that again. So here's what happened. I went to reverse flick it, and the thumb stud ran into my index finger, which I'm not really sure where to put it. So it drags against it a little bit, but now that I know, I kind of want to, move it out of the way. So yeah, but it does when you go to reverse flick it. So that is something that we noticed with Excalibur, but the reason, like it's bigger, so the idea was you could move down a little bit and clear it completely. With this, I don't have as much room, and that's not so much a specific problem with the knife, not necessarily. It's going to be more of a problem with people who have, like if your hands are smaller, you'd probably be okay. I can go down a little bit. It's still dragging against me. Going up, I mean, moving my finger out of the way is not really an option because I need this part of my hand to brace. Yeah, just a little bit awkward. How about the forward flick off the opening hole? Let's try that again. A little awkward, but I can do it. And then utilizing the thumb studs themselves, utilizing the thumb studs for the reverse flick, runs into my index finger, and that one's just fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you are wanting to reverse flick this, you will find it slightly irritating. Lock bar release. It's chamfered, but it's also a pretty, I'm not going to say sharp, it's just an abrupt edge, and then the lock bar tension's pretty high, so you're working, it's not super duper comfortable to disengage. I'm just going to be honest. The look is, it's okay. I mean, I've seen this profile a few times. It's kind of neat seeing the more geometric shape there in the opening hole. One of the interesting elements here was the use of, does it say right there? Yeah. S35VN. So here's the designer right there, or it's the design logo. I wish they would put that on the box. Does it actually say? On the box or on the inside would be awesome, but I don't think it's going to. No. I'll make sure that the link has something in the information there that says who it is. But S35VN, great steel. It is fine at this price point. I think it's, it's a steel that makes perfect sense. I know that a lot of people will say, I don't want them to use outdated steels like S35VN anymore. And to those people, I would say, do you have any idea how old M390/20CV is? Do you know how old S90V is? It's only outdated in your mind. It's it's not an outdated steel, and it's one of few steels that were actually made for pocket knives. It's just that people don't mentally put it in a place that is as premium or as interesting as some of the other steels that they prefer to see, regardless of whether or not they're using the knife in a way that allows that steel to shine. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds of that, because the irony is that I'm a collector and I own all sorts of knives that I don't use at all, and I love them because they are using whatever my favorite flavor of steel is, right? So, but the purpose of me bringing this up is because people will inevitably say, why didn't they use something more interesting than S35VN? There's a little bit of merit to that argument, I think, and here's my reasoning. This is a $200 pocket knife, and Artisan Cutlery here over the last year has made a lot of pocket knives that are about $200 utilizing S90V. And S90V, like when they purchase it from Crucible, it's not that much more expensive than S35VN, but it is definitely more expensive. So I feel like maybe they saved a little bit on the blade steel, and then they put a little bit more money into the handle material. I think at this price, with this build quality, I think it truly will just come down to preference. I think that there are plenty of people out there who would prefer S35VN over S90V. How could that be? S90V has better edge retention, because edge retention is not the end-all, be-all for every single person on the planet when it comes to a knife. S35VN has pretty good edge retention, much better toughness. It's just as stainless, or possibly a little more, a little less, and it is way easier to touch up and sharpen than S90V, and will resist chipping better as well. So sometimes people will, be willing to trade those elements off. It just depends on who you are and what you're doing with your knife. Anyways, that always opens up a huge can of worms when it comes to, discussion. Kind of randomly placed inserts here. It's kind of cool. I also like the little, almost like Legend of Zelda rupee insert there for the pocket clip. The way that they did that is neat, right? That the screw support are underneath the filler tab, so you can flip that pocket clip around. Let me go ahead and get this in and out of the pocket real quick. I got to use two hands. It's a little pinchy, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Steel lock bar insert, all of that. I bet you this is not a super heavy object. This is not a review, by the way. We're just taking a quick look at it. Have to actually carry and use it before I can review it. It's like 7.85, 7.9. Blade length is actually, this has got some pretty cool ratios here. 3.65, cutting edge is 3.5. Yeah, okay. And then your weight, there's no way that it weighs any more than 3.5. Let's find out. I bet it's closer to 3 or even below. Yeah, 2.9 ounces. Pretty good. Interesting, ratios and balance there. Balance is really good. Man, that reverse flick, like this is, here's how we fix this. This entire area should have just been longer. Like it just needs to be like down here so that I can deploy it. And the way that I'm, like the position of my finger and the angle from down here is going to clear that thumb stud. But from here, reverse flicking it, I'm dragging that thumb stud against my finger the entire time, and I have to really be aware of the position of my index finger while I'm doing that. That is a super nitpicky thing. The type of nitpicky thing that can only come from people who are like me, people who handle knives all day and are super little nitpicky about all the little teeny tiny little things, right? So it might not bother you. You just have to ask yourself, is that an important element, right? It's kind of neat. It's a little bit different than what we typically see from Artisan Cutlery. It's kind of nice to see them going out of the box a little bit. As I can already hear this, I mean, a lot of people saying this have already dropped off and are not watching the video anymore. But yes, we do have too many frame locks. We do have too many liner locks. And we do have too many crossbar locks and button locks. We definitely do. The thing that's going to make people interested in continuing to buy and collect knives is an evolution of the industry standard locking systems. I will continue to preach this as much as I still love frame locks and all of those, right? A lot of the super high-end stuff that I buy, they're frame locks, and it doesn't bother me because I'm not buying those knives for the locking system. But in this part of the industry, we're looking at your your production knives, like your premium production knives from China, people are getting super fatigued with the frame lock, and it's very obvious. So to Artisan Cutlery, to everybody, you need to start looking into different locking systems. And I would imagine many of them are trying to develop things and we just don't know it yet. But yeah, it's going to be hard to continue to try and sell, or even for people like me to be interested in frame locks, right? There needs to be so much more going on with other elements of the knife. Like, for example, a crazy finish, a new material or an uncommon material for the inlay, right? Or a very kind of wild and crazy blade shape. Those are the types of things that people, will find interesting enough to still pick the knife up, even if it is a locking system that they are super tired of. So, not saying it's wrong to make frame locks. It's just like, we're kind of just seeing like a new, it's like the same car, but it's a slightly different color. It's like, the Forerunner, like it took them forever to make a new design. That Forerunner that they finally redesigned in like 2024, or maybe it was this year. It was like, dudes, guys, this is the same Forerunner that from like 13 years ago. Like, let's do something different here. And so, yeah, like the Forerunner was still a good vehicle, and there was nothing wrong with people who bought those. Like, it was an incredible vehicle. Just needed an overhaul. Just needed to be something different, because it just wasn't interesting anymore. I don't know if that's the best example, but this is fine. I get sent stuff on a daily basis that I absolutely hate, and you guys don't see those videos because it's just not interesting. So this is not one of those. This is something that I still think is kind of interesting. So I'm going to upload it, and then you'll see a review on this knife after I've had a chance to carry and use it down the road. That's going to be it. Links for this guy in the description. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.